Okay, let's get going.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ron Verhage, President of Seriously Smart Technologies, and our webinar today is on the subject of using our Q9 and S8 stress management systems for Alzheimer's support. Now, if you are new to stress management biofeedback, I'll give you a brief description of what it is and how it works. Our stress management systems operate in a gentle and a simple way. The client is connected to a biofeedback device with electrode bands that are placed around the wrists, around the ankles, and around the forehead. The device is connected to a laptop, and through the software, it sends approximately 11,000 frequencies into the body. The software analyzes the body's feedback and displays the results on our screen so we can determine the potential causes of the client's stress. And then we work to retrain the body's stress response using those 11,000 frequencies. I'd like to mention that stress management does not diagnose, treat, cure, or heal. We do not assess, and we do not prescribe. We strictly detect stress and work to reduce stress. So let's begin this discussion about Alzheimer's and how we can support and improve the wellness of our clients with our Q9 and S8 stress management system. I'll introduce you to a biofeedback diplomate, our resident trainer here at SST, Fernando Crespo O'Neill. Welcome, Fernando.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us and for this webinar. So, what is Alzheimer's disease? Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior. Symptoms eventually grow severe enough to interfere with daily tasks. No, understanding Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia, a general term for memory loss and other cognitive abilities serious enough to interfere with daily life. Alzheimer's disease accounts for 60 to 80% of dementia cases. Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging. The greatest known risk factor is increasing age, and the majority of people with Alzheimer's are 65 and older. Alzheimer's disease is considered to be younger onset Alzheimer's if it affects a person under 65. Younger onset can also be referred to as early onset Alzheimer's. People with younger onset Alzheimer's can be in the early, middle, and late stages of the disease. So, what's the prevalence of Alzheimer's and other dementias in the United States? Over 7.2 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's dementia. About 1 in 9 people, or about 11%, age 65 and older, has Alzheimer's dementia. The percentage of people with Alzheimer's dementia increases with age, from 51% of people aged 65 to 74 up to 33.4% of people aged 85 and older having Alzheimer's dementia. People younger than 65 can also develop Alzheimer's dementia. Although prevalence studies of younger onset dementia in the United States are limited, researchers believe about 110 of every 100,000 people aged 30 to 64 years, or about 200,000 Americans in total, have younger onset dementia. So, with this information in mind, we're going to go into the panels that are in the software that can be used to support Alzheimer's. Now, I just want to reiterate something. What is the reason for this webinar? This is a public marketing webinar for people that are not SST members. However, if you're an SST member and a practitioner, you'll probably find a lot of great information in this webinar. But primarily, this is not a training webinar, it is a marketing webinar. Now, I do also want to put a disclaimer out there that just because our software can offer Alzheimer's support does not imply or guarantee Alzheimer's support success. So let's keep that in mind. Let's get into the panels. Now, right off the bat, we can go into the main matrix panel. And I do want to reiterate that sometimes working on somebody with Alzheimer's can be tough. You, as a practitioner, people need to understand, can they sit still for the whole appointment, or do we need to adjust what we do? So rather than perhaps using the head harness, A practitioner might find greater success in using the head port pad, which can slip underneath the shirt, underneath the bra along the spine, which might just keep the wires from in front of the client with Alzheimer's face. So just kind of keep that in mind. It can be less traumatizing for them. So here in the matrix, you can do a search for things like Alzheimer or dementia. Now, I like to work on the results that are over here on the left that are maybe in the purple and the blue. I'm sorry, the purple and the red, or blues that are below 50, below 40, below 30. Those are more chronic related wellness issues. We can also take perhaps the searched item that we like and drag it over to the yellow box and compare it with choices here in the compound list. Now I ended up selecting diseases and we did test item hold tray above, which gives us these 4 results right here that we can work on to support our client. Now, we also have a new box with our new software called Custom Zap Panel, where we can also have those results there in the middle from searching for Alzheimer's or dementia, and we can drag those results over into the custom Zap box. Now, what's really neat about this box is before we've had other choices to do something like this, but it maybe worked on the whole box at once or maybe one at a time, and that was it. With this new custom Zap box, what's really neat is we can select Zap, 3-minute Zap, or 9-minute Zap. Me personally, I like to click the 3-minute Zap, and it will do each selection in here for a full 3 minutes. Very cool. Also in the main panel, we can click on EPR enhancements and the 4th choice down, uh, stimulate reaction, duplicate remedy. We can come into this box and do what we call inverts and restores. You have permission to invert and restore what is needed for your client's wellness. So you can see here, I've got invert Alzheimer's disease, invert dementia. You can press start as many times as it takes till it rectifies. And you might also find it beneficial to choose to use the nerval reactivity button until that one rectifies with a client. Now, leaving the main matrix, we can go to the acupuncture and also the acupoints panels. And this is where we can work on acupuncture points that are supportive. Like in this case, there's a whole list of supportive options for brain and memory. And that would be coming from the cheat sheet that's included with the Seriously Smart session. Now, the Seriously Smart session is one of our trainings on how I do a session from start to finish. Last month, Ron and I were in Budapest for a conference, and one of the other speakers that has watched the my Seriously Smart session training, she's a professor at a college back in California where I'm from, and she had made a comment. She says, "Fernando, your Seriously Smart session training, it is overwhelming. How not overwhelming your teaching is." So I thought that was a great compliment. I appreciate that. So that's one of the cheat sheets we can use to support our clients in this panel. Then we can leave acupuncture, go over to biofeedback systemic relaxation. There's many choices to support in this whole panel. Here under biofeedback, we can see a couple like reduce stress and nerves and tune brain function. And then under the organ systems pull down, we see brain introspection and brain nerve conduction and synapse stabilization. Then under additional, we've got the corpus callosum stability, learning disability. There's so many to choose from in this whole panel, so find what works best for your particular client. Then leaving biofeedback systemic relaxation and going to disease dictionary, we have a lot of choices in here for support. There's also custom support zaps that are part of paid for trainings. But right in the main panel, we have Alzheimer's disease and dementia disorders that can be used. Moving over to the DNA panel, there's a lot of choices in here. Now, some people feel that our own DNA is written in stone, but that's actually not true. Portions of our DNA are influenced daily by our microbiome, those we might meet, and even our own negative thinking has been proven to influence portions of our DNA. So we can support our clients in this panel. Next, we can go over to the electrophysiological oscillation freak panel. And there's a great panel in here, brainwave pattern therapy. We can do a lot of brain support here as well. Plus, there in the bottom left, we can go ahead and click on the attention deficit brain fatigue LEAP button and come into the LEAP panel. And we got great options here for supporting our clients. I absolutely love this panel. Next, there's the homeopathic panel. Some practitioners are also homeopaths, and they love using this panel to support their clients. Leaving there and going over to homotoxicology, this is the detox panel, and there's so many great choices for support in here. But here's an obvious one to start with. We see of brain, and we can work on detoxing the brain in case that can be reason why they need that support. Next, we can open up iridology. There's a lot of great choices on each one of the tabs in here, but here's an obvious one to start with under the facial plus eye plus gum diagnosis. You can click on brain anatomy and then activate piggybacks to support the whole brain. Now, this is from the latest version of the program. And what's really exciting with this latest version is each one of the tabs there across the top, actually, we get rectifications in each panel for the first time ever. Leaving there, going over to the NLP panel. This is the emotional wellness panel, and here are a few choices. There's so many to choose from. But under therapies, we see neuropeptide balance, focus for now. And then we see STEM memory functions, storage, retrieval, and retention. Now, moving over to the right, there are pull downs, and we see the special AFERX, where there's brain injury rehab. And then under the connecting to other dimensions pull down, we see actually a lot of neat choices in here. An obvious one might be body, mind, spirit, social, environmental stabilization. But I would like to try other ones in here with somebody needing Alzheimer's support, like the mental plane or the time travel choice, things that, I think it'd be really interesting to try that with them. Okay. Next in the NLP panel, we can click on multimedia. Now, multimedia, there's a lot of great brain support choices here, and you can pick one that'll support the whole NLP panel in the background. So we see some great choices there with the stimulate cerebellum, reticular formation, hippocampus, visual cortex, and corpus callosum. Now we also see the brain scan button, and you'll notice that this might look familiar. Now, this version of the panel functions differently from the LEAP panel. If you have time, I would do them both in the same session, but when supporting somebody with Alzheimer's, more than likely you will need to do one per session. Now, leaving here and going to the nutrition panel, you can type in Alzheimer's disease into the insert disease box and click test disease, and then it'll give us nutritional choices that can be supportive of that particular client. Now, some practitioners also stock nutrition in their office, and they can send them home with the items that are recommended in this panel. Next, we can go over to quick therapy panel. There are many choices in here, but for this topic, here are 3 go-to support options. We see the brainwave balance, and we see degenerative therapies. Now, since Alzheimer's is a type of degenerative therapy, this type of wellness issue, it would be appropriate to run these choices like degenerative therapy. Now, in this panel also, there's there in the top middle, all these different supporting attitude options in here. Okay, moving on. Next, we can go over to the sports panel. And in here, we have a lot of great choices. Like we can select STEM, mental visual imagery, and that opens up 5 hidden choices over here. We see where we can work on coordination, memory, willpower, stability, and focus ability. So this great panel to support our clients until rectification. Next, we can go to short SAR codes, and then there's many choices in all of these tabs to support our clients. Now, in this one, we can click on more anatomy and click on brain. And what's really nice during the Seriously Smart session, there's the go to work portion of it. And we can come back here and work in this panel and try our best to not only have repaired at 100, but try to get the other 4 boxes down to 0. Leaving there, we can go over to the spinal panel to time therapies. A lot of wonderful choices in here for supporting our clients. But there's an obvious one right there with brain stem, but then there's also there along the bottom, we see all these different portions of the brain. If you know that if there's a particular portion that is under more stress, we can support that individually and do that until rectification. Plus, there in the middle, we have these different piggybacks that we can do to enhance the effectiveness of this panel. Leaving there, we can go over to time cybernetic superlearning. And in this panel, there's a lot of great choices for brain wellness support. There's also the time treatments button. And we have some really neat choices in here. We can, behind this box is a button that says enhance learning, and you can click on that, and it opens up these great choices here that we can select: math skills, memory, language, analytical, motivation, comprehension, emotional maturity, and communication. You can select all those plus an additional choice here with between these 6 buttons, and then do stimulate intellect. Now, some people have also liked while doing that, putting maybe a book on the test tray, maybe like an encyclopedia or a Bible or some other kind of a textbook, uh, while they're stimulating the intellect. Now, leaving those panels, we can go outside to what I call is the first panel. And with our paid for premium version, we have a whole new button in here called AFE Builder. And the AFE Builder is rather cool because we can, all the AFEs that we have in our software are centrally located here in this AFE Builder. And we can go ahead and go through and pick ones that are appropriate to our client. We see 5 down here: Alzheimer's, brain injury rehab, super learning memory, build enlightenment, and then we can just click the start button and support our client from here. Also in the first panel, there's the one-click therapies, and we have a lot of great brain wellness choices there on the left. You can go ahead and pick one at a time, and you can also move things over to the right, like we did here, where we've got 5 different ones: awareness training, brain symmetry, improved mental function, mental superpowers, and super learning. You determine what kind of time you want, and then you press the start. We have a whole free training on this panel. Now, leaving our main biofeedback program, we have another program called Class Portal. This is a paid-for program that works with along with our main program, but it can also work separately. Now, here's an image from the newest version. Alzheimer's and dementia are in here, as well as other brain support choices. Now, besides our biofeedback stress management system, we also have here at SST additional products like bioenergy patches. And here's 4 that can be supportive: the adult mental focus, the brain heart one, the memory, and frontal lobe. Now, what's really nice with the bioenergy patches is that you can just put that on your client's left shoulder, and you won't have to worry about them being impacted by being strapped up to the device. They'll just have these frequency generating patches that can be really supportive of them. Now, for more information about our new and previously owned Q9 and S8 stress management systems, please go to seriouslysmarttechnologies.com/devices.
In addition to that, we have a new section on our website that can assist you in finding a practitioner who might be nearby you. The website address is seriouslysmarttechnologies.com/members. And then to view what online training is available, you can visit us at seriouslysmarttechnologies.com/online-training. And to check our events calendar to find out when our next events are, please visit seriouslysmarttechnologies.com/public-events. Excellent information today, Fernando, regarding supporting Alzheimer's with our stress management systems today. Thank you. We'd be happy to assist any of you with additional questions that you might have regarding stress management biofeedback. Our email address is info@sstoffice.com, or you can contact us by phone at 989-321-2800. And once again, thank you for joining us. We hope you have an amazing day.
Now, before we
Now,
get, oh, really quick, before we
uh,
get into the Q&A, I just wanted to repeat the disclaimer I made earlier. Just because our software can offer Alzheimer's support does not imply or guarantee Alzheimer support success. So I just wanted to repeat that.
so if anyone has any questions, if you don't mind, please type them out. So in the chat box, and we do have one question already that was put in the chat box. She says, I was taught that when you do an invert, you should also do a replacement restore statement. Um, Fernando, that's kind of a training question, but if you don't mind.
Yep. That's not necessary at all.
Okay. Um, Anybody else have any additional questions? Go ahead and type them in. I noticed some of the buttons say treat or therapy, but in the beginning you said that stress management doesn't do that. Why are the buttons labeled that way?
Our stress management system is primarily meant for the medical community. However, depending on each individual country, they may allow people that can afford to have the systems to take care of their friends and family, but the buttons are still more geared towards the medical community.
Yeah, and different licenses, you have different ability for terminology. So, but we prefer with biofeedback and stress management, to use non-medical terms when we're speaking to others. Or I should say lighter medical terms. Okay, so you showed, let's see, I skipped one. So if I go to a practitioner, will they be able to tell if I have Alzheimer's?
That's a neat question. They won't, since that would mean diagnosing, the answer would be no, unless they were licensed to do so. But for the most part, we as non-medically licensed practitioners, we can see if a client is being affected by Alzheimer's related stress.
Well said, Fernando. You showed the pad as an option. Can you talk more about that and why that might be a good idea?
Ex
The
Actually,
headband
yeah,
pad.
I've had, I'm just like many of you, I'm sure you've had interactions with people that suffer from Alzheimer's and other varying levels of dementia, and sometimes they're not the most cooperative people. So to the thought, normally with our systems, we put the head harness around the forehead, the limb bands around the wrists, and the ankle bands around the ankles, and that might be and with somebody, depending on which degree of Alzheimer's that they're dealing with, uh, within seconds, they may forget why they're strapped up. So, as a compromise, to not have those areas strapped up, but have the head port pad underneath their shirt, underneath their bra, they might just think they're just sitting there being quiet and not interacting with the computer. So, that might be a good way to start off sessions with them.
Very good. Do you have any personal stories working with someone who was diagnosed with Alzheimer's?
Actually, I do. This, uh, gosh, it's probably been about 8 years. Uh, I was asked to work with somebody, and within a session or two, they saw really great results with him. He was now communicative. He was eating food regularly, but his wife put in a request. Can you please put somewhere in the software to cut out all the cursing? Because now that he was talking again, apparently he was really cursing. Yeah. And I'm sorry, I don't have an anti-cursing button in the software, but it was just, that was really cool. And then I will say another experience. I had a client start coming to me early last year, and he wasn't here because of Alzheimer's, but he had had a rather severe stroke that had affected his ability to talk and move around. And I know this isn't an apples to apples conversation, but I wanted to bring him up just because within his first and second appointment, his family was saying, "Oh my goodness, we can actually understand him now." And he's moving along a lot better. I remember here one of the times I was helping his wife bring stuff out to their car because he moved with a walker, and when he was getting, after probably about 4 or 5 sessions, he had, as she put it, so much gumption. He was like not waiting for us to come back to get him. He was like opening up the door and trying to get out. So, uh, but yeah, it's so wonderful when we can work with people like we saw in the statements earlier from the alz.org website, that as with age, these things can progress and get worse. And that one particular client I was talking about was 80, 81 years old.
Okay. And this one, my mom had balance issues with her Alzheimer's. Would the energy balance biopatch help?
Um, that's a good question. I stock a lot of, even myself, I personally stock a lot of patches here, but I haven't had that one. You'd have to read, it'd be better to read the information on it. There's a really good write-up for every one of the patches. So I don't have an answer for that one right off the top of my head. I'd say click on the link and check it out.
But we do encourage being, trying some different things along those lines. So, maybe some of the other patches might fit a certain situation, which might help
Absolutely.
possibly. I think that's it for today then. We really appreciate all the questions, and thank you for Fernando, or thank you to Fernando for answering the questions in a very, very good way. We appreciate it. Once again, thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you for our next event. Enjoy the rest of your day.